The main reason players don't get recruited isn't because of talent, it's because coaches don't know they exist.
Couldn't agree more, because especially if you're doing it yourself, you send off an email. Half the time coaches don't check their emails, they're not looking at their emails, so they get missed. Like I said, 95% of the emails I sent did not even get a response.
When you end up at a school, how bad can your experience be?
I had a goalkeeper coach that I really did not get on with at all. We did not see eye to eye.
What are the difficulties of doing it yourself? The recruiting process, emailing schools,
I could not do it myself, and fair play to those that are successful doing it themselves, because it is such a difficult process.
When the end of season hits, what do you want to have achieved? I want you to speak directly to maybe a 16, 17-year-old that's maybe hearing of this agency word for the first time. And I want you to give absolutely your raw dump. Do not hold back of the agency industry or just the recruiting services industry as you know it, from what you've heard, from your experiences, and just pull down the whole industry and give us, a really raw opinion of your experiences, what you've heard, etc. So, people know that not every agency out there is the same, and that it is an important decision if you are going to trust somebody with helping you with this next step. Who you decide to go with is crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest thing is, as much as it's exciting, you've decided you want to go to America, you've committed to that, it's important to take a step back and to not jump the gun, especially with agencies, because at the end of the day, a lot of agencies are there to, they're there to make money, first of all. So a lot of the time that is agencies' primary focus. It is, I need to get your money, and I want you to use my service. So first of all, I'd say you have to make sure that the agency you're using is, what's the word? Like, it's got some weight behind it. Do you know what I mean? I don't really know what the right word is, but I'm basically
Legit?
yeah, like it's legit. They've actually got good connections, especially if you're looking to move to America for the football. You don't want to go with an agency that doesn't have many contacts, isn't very well kind of like known in the industry, especially in America, and can only send you to a handful of schools. That's the first thing.
People have got a few options. They've got do it yourself. So, email schools yourself. You've also got done with you services where somebody assists you, but you still have to do a bit of work. And then you've got done for you services where people do it for you, right? You've spoke to so many people in the US. What have you heard?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it is like they try and pretend like it's a done for you service. Lots of agencies will kind of have that mask of a done for you service, and it's not until you actually sign with them that you realize it's very much a not done for you service. You're ending up emailing lots of schools. You're ending up sort of putting in a lot of effort compared to what was initially kind of what you were thinking you were going to be putting in. So I think there's a lot of sort of shades and shadows within the agency kind of like industry, because once they've got your money and you're on their books, it's kind of like, okay, that process for some agencies, that's kind of like over now. It's up to you to go and email. It's up to you to make those decisions on schools without giving much insight from the agency, I'll just give you an example. So I had 3 offers, initially when I was with this agent. Davis and Elkins was one of them, actually. Wilmington was the other, and the other one was Gannon University. Now, the best chats I had were with Gannon and Wilmington, purely because I actually think the Davis and Elkins coach ended up leaving literally like a week after our conversation. But yeah, so it was between 2 schools, and I wasn't given it was up to me to go and find out about those schools. And to be honest, it was negligence on my part, maybe, because I didn't go and do my research. But at the same time, that's got to be the agent's job. The agent has got to inform the player of what this school's like, the history of the school. Are they a top 25, 20 Division 2 team? Are they going to be competing for, national championships or conference titles? And this wasn't explained to me at all. So my decision was purely based off the fact of how I felt speaking to the coaches. I got given no insight to anything else from the agent, and the decision was basically, well, I had a better chat with this coach compared to the other coach, so I guess I'll go with this one. But yeah, the main point is I didn't know what I was getting myself into. It wasn't explained to me. I didn't understand conferences. I didn't understand out of conference games. Didn't understand how you had to get to nationals. Didn't understand sort of playoffs. Didn't understand any of it. And looking back on it now, I would have absolutely loved to have had an agency that would have given me the information and allowed me to make a better decision. Because at the end of the day, the more information and the more you know, the better decision you can make for yourself. And I definitely think that that is a big responsibility and role of an agent, that they should be providing a player. And unfortunately, I didn't have that in my first agency. So that was the main thing. And then obviously, as we touched on earlier, I had no support from my agency. When I decided to transfer and get in that portal, it was literally black and white. You either pay and we help you, or you don't pay and you don't get marketed again. And I actually had a conversation with my agent where I basically said, hey, I feel really hard done by here. I thought that our agreement was you're going to be with me for 4 to 5 years, depending on however long I'm out there, you're with me. You're now telling me that you're not with me. And so I think, you know, he almost felt guilty, and he was telling me, well, look, I will help you a little bit, but you're going to be like at the bottom of my list because I've got all of these other players now coming in. And to me, that isn't what support is. If you tell me you're going to support me, A, you're supporting me when I go in the transfer portal, and B, you're not telling me that I'm at the bottom of your list unless I pay, because then it's almost a little bit of blackmail. It's, look, I'm going to help you a tiny bit, but if you pay, you're going to go to the top of the pile. And I don't like that lack of transparency and sort of, yeah, it's a bit shady, isn't it? So.
What are the difficulties of doing it yourself, the recruiting process? What are the difficulties of emailing schools? You know, Americans, they pay for ID camps. What are the difficulties involved?
Where do I start? I mean, I could not do it myself, and fair play to those that are successful doing it themselves, because it is such a difficult process. You have to do emails yourself. You have to make sure that those emails are done to a professional standard where they're even going to be seen. You know, when I was between this point of not having an agency and then signing with you, I was doing it all myself, sending emails every day to different schools. Never got replies. I doubt they even got seen. So there's definitely sort of tactics involved with emails and how you email, what you say in your emails, which the casual, excited person that's ready to go to America isn't going to understand. And it's not until it's too late in the process that when you're doing it yourself, you start to realize that actually what you're doing isn't working. And that's a very dangerous cycle to be in as a player that's going out there, that's putting in all of this time, putting in all of this effort, and you're not reaping the rewards for the effort that you're putting in, because it is a lot of effort, especially if you're not transferring, you're going out for the first time. You've got your visa to sort out, you've got schools to speak to, and on top of that, you've got the right decision to make, because anybody can go to any school, but is that school right for you? Is it school that you want to go to? Is the football program good? Is the education program good? If that's a big focus for that individual, is the location where you want to be for the next 4 years? Because again, that's a big thing for lots of people too. But there is just masses amount of information and misinformation within sort of the process, that doing it yourself is extremely difficult when you don't know and you haven't had the experiences of being out there yet. It's difficult to get your head around it.
What about time? How long does it take to try and do it yourself as well? So for a lot of 17-year-olds, they've got high school to graduate from.
Yeah.
They're also playing football or soccer, wherever you are in the world, whichever you call it. And on top of that, they've also got to try and get themselves recruited and send these emails. So what is the time commitment that these 17-year-olds can expect to actually get the results they want?
The time commitment is 24/7. That is the time commitment. If you are doing it yourself, you are emailing schools every single day. And then when you're not hearing back from those schools that you want to go to, in a few weeks' time, you are going to be re-emailing those schools, especially if you're getting no hits from anything else. There is JUCO. Is there 3 divisions in junior college?
Yes.
So you've got three divisions in junior college. You've got the NAIA. You've got 2 divisions in Division 1, in the NCAA with Division 1 and Division 2. And America is
Unbelievable.
absolutely
So
massive.
you got NCAA.
No, you've got 3. You're right. You've got 3.
NCAA
NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3.
NAIA
Junior college, 1, 2, 3, and then AIA. And America is absolutely massive. And there is just so many schools. It is just a lot of effort, and it takes up an awful amount of time, especially if you're committing to getting your visa sorted, getting all of your Cephas information and all of that done, I-20s, yeah, learning about the process, trying to understand what the next 4 years is going to look like, trying to understand, okay, is this school that I'm talking to actually the right school and the school that I want to go to? If you're doing it yourself, you're then having to deal with the worry of having to negotiate your own contracts and your own scholarship, which again, if you haven't been to a school yet, you haven't been to America, you haven't seen it and understood it, it's almost impossible to be able to do that and to negotiate your own scholarship from a player that's starting from the beginning and hasn't even got out to America yet. So you've got everything: contract negotiation, scholarship negotiation, speaking to all of the coaches, doing all the emails, speaking to the thousands of schools that are in America, and making sure that the decision is right for you, because that's the big one. You don't want to commit yourself to America and be absolutely buzzing to go because it's a great experience, but all of a sudden you haven't done the process correctly, or you haven't been informed, or you've been given misinformation, and now you're at a school that you don't want to be at for 4 years. That excitement that you had will fizzle out extremely quickly.
How bad can it be? Like, when you end up at a school, how bad can your experience be?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, with me, talk a little bit about my first 2 years in the States. So I went to a university, and the chat that I was having with my coach was good. You know, that's why I ultimately went there. First year was great, but I went there as the second choice keeper, and the first choice keeper had a lot of weight on his shoulders, and I didn't get to deal with that in my first year because I was the second choice keeper pushing for that starting spot. I won the starting spot within literally like a few games, and I kept the jersey. But still, because I was the freshman, because I was the newcomer, I didn't have any weight on my shoulders and I could play with freedom. As soon as the second year came round, it was a completely different experience for me. I had a goalkeeper coach that I really, really did not get on with at all. We did not see eye to eye. I don't think he was a very good person. Certainly wasn't an environment that I wanted to be in, and it certainly wasn't an environment that was healthy for me or was going to be a good environment to play good soccer in at all. So my second year was extremely difficult from sort of a team point of view. We lost a lot of good players. We had a very good team in my freshman year. And our recruitment in our second year wasn't good enough, and I think everyone would hold their hand up and agree with that. But yeah, it was very difficult. So I was playing. I played every minute of every game, and I thought I had a semi-decent season. Yeah, I was being told something different by the coaching staff that were picking me every game. Things were being said that weren't very nice, were insulting. It was just a terrible, negative environment, and I needed to get out of it for myself. Because yeah, I could not deal with the negativity, the negative environment. It wasn't good for me. So yeah.
How does that environment affect you as a person?
I think everyone's different. I think some people respond maybe a little bit better, but I need to be in an environment where, I can take negativity, don't get me wrong, but when it's constant and when it's kind of starting to affect your game, that's when I think you need a coach that can see that and realize that actually battering your player that's as well having a good season. I wasn't playing badly, but they were battering me every game for goals that I could not save. And my goalkeeper coach just had extremely high expectations. And so, yeah, my performances throughout the season did drop off, being in this environment. And it was just an environment that I didn't need to be in anymore. And I think if you're in an environment the environment that's right for you, everything's going to be better. Your schoolwork's going to be better. Your football's going to be better. And I can tell you now that this is the best environment I've been in for a very, very long time, since I was back in England, sort of playing under 18s football. This is an incredible environment, and I'm playing like the best football of my life. I'm enjoying it. The team's succeeding. I'm succeeding. So being at the right place is absolutely critical. It's huge. Have to be in the right environment for you to get the best out of yourself, to enjoy it, because ultimately that's everyone's come to America to enjoy themselves. So yeah.
What do your parents think? You know, I spoke to your parents when I first took you guys on as a client, and, you know, they obviously shared their, you know, feelings and thoughts about the school and your experience at Wilmington. So how do they feel now knowing the things that you've just told me?
Yeah, I think first of all, and rightly so as well, parents are always going to be skeptical, and parents are always going to have their child's interest at heart, first of all. So I do sympathize with agencies a lot, actually, because it's more winning over parents than it is the player, especially if the player is very, very excited and wants to join that agency. The parents are going to be the ones that always kind of have that more negative view on it, just because they are concerned that, is my child in the best place? Does my child's agent have their best interests at heart? So I think first of all, my parents were worried about the process, because they wanted to make sure that I ended up in the right place. So you got battered with questions. You know, they were asking questions all the time. We all wanted to make sure it was the right agency for me. But parents, I say you need to be skeptical. You need to ask these questions, and you need to make sure that your child ends up with an agency that is right for all of you. This isn't a one-man band. You know, you are a family. This is a family commitment, a family decision. And so yeah, it's very, very important that, as much as it's difficult for the agencies, that you ask these hard questions, and you make sure that the agent has your child's interests at heart. And I think ultimately, off the conversations that we all had as a group, and the multiple Zoom calls and chats and the rest of it, eventually, like, I think you earned some trust. And at the end of the day, it was all about the final decision and what would happen in the end, because I think that's the other thing. Parents are worried about the unknown. They're scared of the unknown. They don't know what lies ahead of their kid. Like, are they going to end up at the best place? Can agencies actually deliver what they say? Can they deliver on their promises? And I think at the end of the day, my parents are absolutely over the moon with the service and where I am, because I'm in the best place that I could be for both my football and my welfare. So
Yeah. So talk to me about, you know, you signed with us, then what?
yeah, so signed with you, and obviously you were telling me all these brilliant things that I wanted to hear, that you're going to get offers from schools that you want to go to in a very short amount of time. And I'm thinking, am I though? And I did. Within, what was it, 24 or 48 hours, I'd had my first like official offer at a really good school, great school, you know. And so I'm thinking, this is brilliant. Um, and very worthwhile. And shall we touch on what happens after this? Or
Go
do you
for
want
it.
me
Yeah.
yes.
They do not hold back.
Yeah. So obviously I've had a great experience with Harrison within the first 24 hours of speaking to him, because he's got me offers from brilliant schools that are going to be competing for things. Um, and it's great. I'm chatting to coaches, and I'd say within kind of like a few days, like literally a few days, we're kind of like starting to think, okay, I think I'm going to sign for this school. So I get an offer from, do you want me to say the school?
Go for it.
Yeah, so I get an offer from Ashland University, right? This school looks perfect for me. English coach, facilities look amazing. They're going to be competing for their conference. You know, they're going to be in and around sort of nationals, and that's what I wanted. I want to go to nationals. I needed a competitive environment, so it ticks all the boxes, right? We get sent an offer, an official offer, and I don't sign it straight away because I'm thinking, okay, maybe like we can hold out, maybe to see what else is on the table. I don't know, but it wasn't very long anyway between receiving the offer and having this offer ripped off the table as well, because the coach has gone and spoken to I don't know if it was my coach or a few coaches in my old conference, but he's done his background checks and he's not happy with his background checks essentially. So I've had this really, really amazing offer, and now it's off the table as well. So we're back to square one again, where I've got 0 offers. This time we're in a better position because, you know, I'm still speaking to schools. I think at the time I'd had some very, very positive conversation with at least 2 or 3 other top Division 2 schools. So we weren't right at the bottom of the barrel, but we were back to certainly having nothing on the table. So yeah.
So you experienced a different agency, you experienced doing it yourself, and you also experienced those. So what were the differences?
So first of all, the differences are, you know, I'm in a great place right now. I really, really am. But if anything happens, you know, I'm in a situation where I can pick up the phone and say, look, mate, I want to transfer. I want to get in the portal again. And I know you're going to be there for me. You're not going to say that support is you being somebody that I can talk to when times get tough, but I'm not actually going to help you out. No, you're going to help me out. And that is the support that you offer. And you're not going to be reaching into my back pocket again. And so that's the first thing. You are with me for the entirety of my time in the States. You know coaches personally. You've got their phone numbers. I've seen your spreadsheet. I've seen like the coaches that you know everyone. Everyone knows you, you know everyone, and you being able to have those personal connections with the coaches is absolutely massive because, first of all, we're not sending off the emails. You are if you do emails, but I think like you openly admit you don't really do emails. A lot of it is on the phone. You know the coaches, you chat to them, they know you, they trust you, you trust them. You know a lot about sort of the process, you know a lot about America, and you know a lot about the schools, which again is absolutely massive and probably should have touched on it in the first segment. But lots of these agencies don't have personal relationships with the schools. They don't know what the school is like. They don't know what the coach is like. They don't know what the conference is like. But what they want to do is they want to say, look, yeah, I've had a client come in and I got him to America. I've done my job. But there's so much more to being an agent. And the detail that you put into that is amazing. You know, you don't just care about bringing in a client and getting into a school. You care about where he goes. Is that or she, whatever sport, whatever gender, where that person goes, is it the right environment for them? All of this, you know, with your, what is it? What do you call it? Your checklist or you do, so,
Yeah, it's
right.
actually a needs analysis. So
Needs analysis. Yeah.
yeah, right at the start of our process, you know, you and your parents told me exactly what you wanted. And I told you guys, you will get offers from schools that tick all of these boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know any other agency that has a needs analysis, you know. Agencies are just, we'll take you on and we'll get you what we can. We don't really know the coaches. We don't know them personally. So if it's not what you want, tough luck. But obviously the needs analysis was absolutely amazing because it made all of us understand and realize, okay, I'm actually going to go to a school that is right for me. Obviously you've got your guarantee as well, which I don't know how many agencies have guarantees, to be honest. Yeah, I think just being able to speak to a coach and you knowing coaches personally and having opinions on those places is massive because I'm not alone. I'm not having to make that decision by myself. I'm not having to worry about whether or not the environment is right for me and if the coach is right for me because you know them, which again is massive.
Was that education aspect there, aka how much did you learn with us?
I learned everything with you. I mean, you guys have got the videos in the group chat or in the in the school app. You are coaching your clients as well as doing the job for them. So we get a understanding of how everything works. We get an understanding of the different schools and their education systems, their football systems, the locations, how the transfer portal works, do's and don'ts, just everything. You really do learn, as well as end up in the right place. You learn the process as well, which is absolutely massive. But one thing I just want to add very quickly, just taking a couple steps back, is I think one of the big things that's so good about you is because you know the coaches and you've got their phone numbers. That is why I think we get so many offers so quickly in such a short amount of time. I think when coaches are dealing with everything on email, it's a much slower process. Emails sometimes take a few days because coaches don't check them. And I think in this industry, you can't wait for days sometimes, especially when it's tight between two individuals. Coaches, just like you're not looking at one school, coaches aren't looking at one player, right? So if I'm a goalkeeper and they're looking to bring me in, best believe they're also looking at another goalkeeper as well. They probably have their preference, but they won't just be looking at you. And I think the great thing about you dealing with coaches over the phone and knowing them is being able to have offers so quickly, because you pick up the phone, you call them, and within 5-10 minutes, the coach has an understanding of the player, the coach has an understanding of the agency or whatever. You understand the coach and their needs and if it's the right fit for your client. And all of a sudden you can get the ball rolling and get offers on the table within literally hours. Whereas when it's done via email, that's a much, much longer process.
I'm going to say a sentence to you, and I want you to tell me what it means to you. So I say that the main reason players don't get recruited isn't because of talent, it's because coaches don't know they exist.
Yeah, completely agree. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more, because especially if you're doing it yourself, you send off an email. Half the time, coaches don't check their emails. They're not looking at their emails, so they get missed. Like I said, 95% of the emails I send didn't even get a response, did not even get a response. And I guarantee you that 95% of those coaches aren't rude. So what is it? Is it 95% of those emails got seen and I've got rude coaches that aren't even willing to give you a response of, hey, thanks, but no thanks? Or is it actually because they're not looking at their emails and they haven't seen you and you've written the wrong thing in the email and it's gone into their junk folder? Or do you know what I mean? Like, so at the end of the day, that statement is so, so true, because if you go, I'm telling you now, if you go with Harrison and you are a good player, he will get you seen and you will end up in the right place.
Maya's a unique person, and I know him really, really well. And you've obviously had the luxury to play for him for what, a month now?
Yeah, pay me them for a month.
What did I tell you about Maya before you committed to Davison Elkins? So you had a few offers on the table, and I advised you to commit to Davison Elkins for a few different reasons. One of them is because I took time to get to know you as a person, and I matched you up based on Maya's personality and what I felt like your relationship would be with him. So first question, what did I tell you about Maya and your experience with Davison Elkins? And B, what has been your experience?
Yeah, so first of all, when we were having the conversation, obviously it was important I was in the right environment. You knew that. It was important went to a school that was competitive. So all of these boxes were ticked, but you told me, you said, Mayor is somebody you want to play for. You want to play for Mayor. He's a great guy. And I got here, obviously a little bit skeptical because I've just come from an environment that wasn't good for me. So I'm thinking, okay, is it actually going to be sort of as good as it sounds? Is it going to be too good to be true? But no, he's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely world class. I've never been in a video session in America where we're going through film, and at the start and at the end of film, we're looking at sort of motivational talks and psychological things on the screen to help us build confidence within the group, build positivity within the group. we did get a bad result the other day, I'll be honest, against a team that we should have beaten, and we got a tie away from home. You know, I've been in an environment previous where coaches would be shouting, yelling, you know, not being so emotionally invested into the result and into that moment, and not being able to look at the bigger picture. And the first thing there says is, listen, we've got a result at a bad pitch away from home. We take the positives. We need to look forward. We need to not get too high on the highs, not get too low on the lows. And it's a breath of fresh air. It's like, this guy understands it. He understands that we need to be a group. We need to be a team. It can't just be the team versus the manager. The manager and the team need to be a unit. That's certainly what we've got here, and what we're building, and it's great. Every morning in training, we train at 7 a.m, so it's a nice fresh start. He gets us all together and he says, good energy, good positivity, battling, working hard, like training at a match intensity, but it's such a positive environment to be in. And especially as a goalkeeper, where most goalkeepers will agree with me, it's you versus you most of the time. So having to deal with an outside body of somebody else also dealing with it is then a 2v1. You're dealing with your coaches and yourself, and you're getting in your own head, and you've got coaches telling you this. Mayor's the opposite. Mayor is, Charlie, you need to be positive. If I make a mistake, he's not shouting at me. He's not telling me I'm crap. He's not, you know, it's on to the next thing. He knows my level. I know my level. I know I'm a good goalkeeper. I think I've proven to him that I'm a good goalkeeper, and he trusts that now. So we built that level of trust. We built that level of understanding. I think he knows how to get the best out of me, and he knows that I need to be in an environment where I'm supported, where the group environment is positive. But yeah, just the whole team is one. The coaching staff and the players are united. It's a positive environment. Yeah, Mayor is unlike a lot of coaches that you'll see in America. Lots of coaches are extremely militant, very shouty, very, if you do something wrong, there's a punishment. Lots of running, lots of sort of suicide running and all of that. But this is, yeah, a very different and refreshing experience.
And how has that affected your game?
For the better, only for the better. I know I've got the capabilities of being a very, very good goalkeeper, and I think I'm showing that now. We've had a good start to the season. I think we've played 6 games, and I think I've kept 4 clean sheets. And then including pre-season, I think I kept clean sheets throughout the whole of pre-season, played 90 minutes in every game in pre-season. So, you know, 6 clean sheets in 9 games isn't too bad.
Who did you play in pre-season?
That's a great question. I'm actually not too sure. I'm still getting myself familiarized with the location and the teams and who's good, who's not. But no, we played some good standard teams that I think are sort of in and around like the national level every year. Couldn't tell you exactly what the teams were. I think the last team we played, I think they were a JUCO actually. I'm not sure I don't think they were like amazing actually, but the first 2 preseason games we played were certainly very good standard, good test. But yeah, no, I couldn't tell you exactly actually.
A lot of people don't know that in pre-season you play against teams of all different divisions, and that's why it's so easy for me to bust the myth of that it is linear in regards to D1, D2, D3, and it's not.
Yeah,
Right?
it's so linear.
Divisional
School, yeah. And that's the agencies don't explain that. My last agent basically made it sound like if you play for a junior college, you're rubbish. And if you play for NAIA, you're rubbish. And it's just not the case at all. It's really not. I've got a mate that was on trial at Grimsby Town last year, who plays for one of the top NAIA schools in America. And I think they lost in the national final last year. And, you know, I'm telling you now that school will be way better than 75% of probably most even Division 1 teams. It is so linear between NAIA, JUCO, Division 2, Division 1. Yeah.
Who's that guy? Because I'm from Grimsby.
Oh, it's Buster Honeywood. He's from Norwich,
Okay.
but he was I don't think he's from Norwich actually. He might be from Suffolk or somewhere around that.
Where is he?
But yeah, he trialled for Grimsby last year. I think he played in some preseason games as well. Actually,
What team is he at now?
he's a Boulevard, or they're a purple team, and I think they've got a bear on the front.
Okay.
But Boulevards, no, it's not. But it's I can find out for you. I'll let you know. I think they either lost in the final or got to the semis or something like that last year. But they're very good NAIA school.
So just so you understand, we break college soccer into 7 different tiers. So tier 1 schools would be the likes of Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, Clemson's, the best of the best. These lads are going pro. You've got tier 2 schools, which is your D1 schools that are competing for the national tournament, but then you've also got a Davidson Elkins, you've also got a College of Charleston, a Lynn in Florida. You've got these D2 schools. Then you've also got schools like Amherst, which is a Division 3 school, and you've got your junior colleges in there as well as some NAIA, and that's in tier 2. Then you get to tier 3, and you also have the worst Division 1 schools. So, in my opinion, Davidson Elkins is a tier 2, or maybe on the brink of a tier 2, tier 3. Davidson Elkins is better than the bottom 25-40% of Division 1's 100%. If you guys were probably to play, I don't want to bait any Division 1 schools out, but if you guys were to play some Division 1 schools, you guys would 100% beat them.
Yeah. We played SFU, St. Francis. It's St. Francis University.
Yeah.
Yeah, we beat them, I think 2-0. We battered them for 90 minutes. Battered them off the park for 90 minutes. And I think they were like a semi-decent Division 1 school last year. I think they maybe got to like the playoff final, I think they were maybe even in and around nationals. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at their record. But they're certainly not a rubbish Division 1 school. They're not a top tier Division 1 school, but they're probably like, probably tier 2 Division 1 school. And we beat them. So,
and a lot of people are going to listen to that and be like, how in the hell did a Division 2 school beat a Division 1 school? But it happens, and it happens every single year.
Yeah.
Literally every year.
It ends up happening in the previous school, Wilmington University, Division 2. Freshman year when we played them in the spring, beat them. Beat University of Delaware, sorry. Yeah, we play University of Delaware, Wilmington do every spring. University of Delaware, I think they're probably ranked 70-something, 70th, 80th in Division 1. And Wilmington beat them comfortably again in my freshman year in the spring. So, yeah.
So, for somebody that doesn't understand how college soccer works, in your words, what is some information you can give them?
So, in my words, I personally think Division 1 is too American heavy. And I think a lot of coaches are American in Division 1. A lot of, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn by saying this, but this is how I feel. I feel like they're American heavy. Lots of American footballers that weren't good enough to play American football that moved down to soccer. So you get big units in Division 1, big units, big guys, lots of American coaches. And I feel like it can be more difficult for internationals to break into Division 1 schools. Personally, I could be wrong for saying that. That's what I think. Please tell me do you think I'm wrong for saying that, or do you think that's...
I wouldn't agree. However, one thing I will say is that it's definitely athlete focused for sure. You look at the guys, and you look at the goalkeepers, you look at the number 9s. These guys are 6'4", 200 pounds, lean muscle. These are athletes, and that is probably a big difference. Is you do have to have good statistics when it comes to height, when it comes to weight, when it comes to distribution of muscle, all these different things. Speed, it's just very important because it is very athlete focused. But yeah, you carry on.
Yeah, it's definitely not. You know, you've got Division 1 schools that would get beaten by Division 2, Division 3, JUCOs, NAIA, because at the end of the day, like, the school has the budget, and obviously budgets fluctuate a bit, but at the end of the day, if their recruitment is better than another school's recruitment, they're gonna have the better players. Um, I feel like a lot of times, people were when I was first starting the process, I thought, "Oh, Division 1 is gonna be so much better than Division 2." It's really not. I don't really know why it's the case. I think it just must come down to recruitment. Um, but certainly it's the gap is not big at all. I thought that the gap between Division 1 and Division 2 was gonna be huge, massive. It's not. It's really, really not at all.
So many kids care about that D1 label.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I think because it says Division 1, I think that's why. I think lots of people think Division 1, I wanna play at the best, I wanna be the best, so they automatically associate that Division 1 school with being the best, but like you said, there is so many Division 2, Division 3 JUCOs, NAIA that would whoop Division 1 schools, and I think it's extremely important for people to understand that it is way more beneficial for you as a soccer athlete to go to a good Division 2 school that's competing for stuff than to go to a losing Division 1 school that's gonna have a record of 2, 12, and 2 at the end of the year, and that is so important that, that you go to a winning program if that's what you're after, and it's not all about that big fancy Division 1 sticker, because Division 2 schools can certainly compete, as can Division 3s, as can NAIAs and JUCOs as well. But again, I think a lot of it as well might come down to media coverage. You see these top Division 1 schools like your Marylands and your Dukes, and you're like, "Whoa, like that's an experience that I want to have." But if you're being really honest, it is so difficult to get into schools like that. Like, it's almost like, academies to getting a scholarship, right? Like in, the academy level. So when you're 16 and you're playing at a academy in England, the chances of that person actually getting a scholarship, let alone a professional contract, I think I got told the percentage before, it's like 0 point whatever percent, right? And I think that's the same with sort of these big Division 1 schools. Have to be a bit realistic. A lot of times these Division 1 schools, I personally think are also picking from like their MLS Next Pros and sort of academies in America. So you're kind of at a little bit of a disadvantage to begin with, and if you do go to those schools, then you are a really, really good player. You probably would have had to have played extremely high-level academy football in England, have to have extremely good stats, extremely good highlight video, because again, that's what one thing I struggled with actually coming over to America was I had such a bad highlight video, because in all of my games, they were hardly ever recorded, and the games that were recorded, I had like 2 matches to go through for footage. So that is one thing I would say that's important, is obviously you guys have your own highlight video person that does the highlight videos. Absolutely incredible. That's again, no agencies I know offer that. And I think that's huge. But yeah, that highlight video is important during the process.
When the end of season hits, what do you want to have achieved?
When the end of the season hits, I want to have gone to nationals. That is the goal. The goal is that Davison Elkins would be in that national tournament. Obviously, the goal for me, I kind of like to think short term. So for me, I'm worried about Sunday when we play Concord. So the short term goal is we win that game, and then the next goal is we win the next game. Take every game by game by game. But at the end of the day, Davison Elkins, we should be going to nationals. We have enough to go to nationals. We've got an extremely good group, extremely good mentality, extremely good coach. So yeah, we will be going to nationals.
The starting goalkeeper for Concord is another one of my clients.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be a good game for me to watch. Both the
Yeah.
guys in net for both of your teams. You know, ideal scenario for me is you draw 0-0.
Draw. Not the ideal scenario for both, but Concord are doing very well, actually. They are doing very well.
Yeah. No, he's really enjoying it as well. So, yeah. So, end of the season.
You can enjoy it after Sunday.
Yeah. End of the season, you want to have made a nationals run and ideally have won your conference.